We're here talking about anything streaming. I'm joined today with Martin.
So you're going to go with the toilet bit, huh?
I'm still going to stick with the toilet. And, of course, this is Bryan. Find me, of course, on At Democracy when I'm not doing this. Thank you for joining me. We're doing this actually pretty early. Podcast hours kind of doesn't matter when this will drop, but right now it's like midday here on a Thursday. It's kind of hard to get people to join on a Thursday midday morning. Thank you for coming in, Martin.
No problem, man. Just like I said, I'm here for the podcast. I'm here for the podcast.
Give me a beat, Mrs. L.
Holy puberty, you're just a kid?
Adoy, MoonGirl. It's right in the name, lady.
MoonGirl and the Devil Dinosaur. Now, I believe it's just MoonGirl and Devil Dinosaur. But, this was based from a comic run that started in late 2015. It dropped on Disney Plus earlier this month. It is going to be a 10-episode run, but we've gone through 6 episodes. So, we've got pretty much the majority of the series knocked out, and we'll just go ahead and talk about it here. Genius middle schooler Lunella Lafayette accidentally pulls a T-Rex into modern-day New York City after a time vortex machine goes wrong. Together, the two become a superhero duo to protect New York City's Lower East Side and deal with life's everyday problems. This is what do you think of MoonGirl and the Devil Dinosaur? Give me your overall thoughts on this.
So MoonGirl and the Devil Dinosaur. For the most part, I do in fact love the show.
Right.
Like, it is from the animation to the music to just the writing is all. I think it's all pretty darn great. A lot of the time, it didn't make me cringe. It didn't, and that's a big deal when it comes to animated series. Like, if there's a joke or some moment, it's just like I cringe. I'm pressing the fast forward button. Right. I found myself not pressing the fast forward button when listening to this. And I like that the first episode. I'm glad they gave it a 45-minute runtime on that first episode, because I didn't think that they could do everything they needed to do within a 24-minute
to introduce the character and the scenario.
They did it a good way of introducing her. I also liked the fact that they didn't give her powers. Originally they might give it later on in the show, but I'm glad they didn't do anything like that. She's just a normal genius. She didn't no superpowers at all.
No,
I tend to like the superheroes in media who don't have powers, who was just still dealing with the larger than life.
Villains or antagonists.
Yes.
It's more of a challenge for them.
I guess you can say super genius is a superpower, but not really. Like,
I will say the way that this is set up in the episode, the way that episodically it's set up, it is treated more like a superpower because she can immediately solve everything. I would say that that's essentially like a superpower. The way that the show treats it.
But she still has to use mundane, everyday plans in order to solve the problem. It's not just she pulls an invention out of her ass and
she hasn't pulled the invention out of her ass, but the invention becomes developed out of her ass rather quickly.
I mean, that was literally just the first episode when you talk about
the cassette player.
Yeah,
that was only the cassette player.
She made that, and that was about it. That was like. Yeah. From the episodes I've watched so far, she hasn't really invented anything else beyond what she had got in the first episode, which is nice, because it should take time for her to build up her repertoire of items you use.
Yes,
if she is a super genius, you guarantee at some point she's gonna start inventing things.
Sure.
Or just start working on things she might have been already working on. They'll have a little tidbit like, I've been working on this for a long time and now I'm going to finish it, and something like that, and just add it to her repertoire. Yep. I like slow build. It's kind of like another animated series, Danny Phantom, where
absolutely
over time he just got more and more powers. Like I love the fact that his ice powers was that he got later on in the series was always just like the little breath that he had when a ghost showed up. But they're like, no, this is a power that you have, and it's just like, wow, that's interesting. You built off something that we already established. Like this is really cool,
right?
So this is. I hope it goes in that direction where she's just constantly building herself up. I don't want to just. Every episode I invent this. Every episode I invent that. Every episode I invent this and this and this. And this is like, okay, so she just can do everything at any point in time. Like, no, I don't want that.
I feel that. Yeah.
Give her what she has now. Solve problems with what she have now,
and then slowly start to build on that. Yeah, I will say, like, I think this is it's great. You know, what I'll say is like the art style. It's just so pleasing to the eye. Like, so instead of, you know, we've seen a lot of Spider-Verse inspired art and animation. This is not that. It pushes itself so far away from that, but it's still comic booky. But you're not gonna say, oh, like, look at that, it looks like Spider-Verse. Like, finally, like, this is a really, really beautiful, eye-pleasing series. It looks great. I love the expressiveness of, like, the color. Like, by the way, through the show, beautiful. I love the expressive text bubbles.
More so,
it's great
with the fights, like
especially with the fights. I love, by the way, like, okay, so, you know, people will say the commercial bumper kind of thing is inspired by anime. That's also very old Saturday morning cartoons would do that too. Either way, great music every single time you get to those bumpers for commercial breaks. So cool. You know, and then, like, you get these, usually, you know, like, every single episode you get sort of the final battle, you get some music. Some of it I thought was meh, but you're going to get some high quality artists. Usually, like, you have Childish Gambino in one of these, and so you get some really high quality artists actually in these battles.
A censored version of Childish Gambino.
And so it's like, yeah, but it's, you know, what? Oh, you think that's bad?
I think that's cool. That, like, I never thought you would hear something like that. Like,
yeah, no, like, that's
a censored version of it, like, as one of his songs. I'm like,
yeah, and by the way, like, the end credit music does change as well, and even that sounds good. Yeah. So everything about the music, you know, I know we were talking yesterday. Now this will be at a different time than when Ant-Man releases, but when we were talking about, when I was saying music is a critical piece to an entire production, this is an example of how the music adds to something. Because in Ant-Man, you don't remember the music. In this, every single time that they're, you know, if there's a final battle or, you know, whatever, like, something's happening, or you're going to the intro, and we can talk about the intro actually in a sec, there's just very interesting things going on with the sound design or the music. Not even sound design. Sound design's kind of generic, that's fine. But the music itself is great. The intro even, like, we talked about, I think, was it us we talked about this?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about this. The intro, I think, is cool in English. After a couple episodes, I got bored with it, so I decided to change the language settings, and I think it sounds so cool in Japanese, in French, and I know you said there was a couple standouts for you.
Yeah, if I had to say, I'm good too, because I'm gonna upset some people when I say this. Like, if I had to know, I would say that because when the song was sung in English, there's the singer, because she has a kind of sass when she speaks,
right,
and when she sing the song, and I feel as though, like, some of the other languages don't have that sass that she had in the song, so it comes off as like a more childish version of it. It's like you said,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
I didn't pay. You're right.
Like,
that's very true.
So, like, if it had to go in order, it would be, of course, the English one, and then the French one, which also brings that amount of sass into it. Then after that, I would go to the Japanese one, because it doesn't. She doesn't have the sass, but I like the voice.
It just sounds good. Yeah.
But the Latino one, I'm not really.
You didn't feel that?
I'm not feeling that.
I felt Spanish. I
was like, it's just like, I was not feeling her voice.
Okay.
It felt like her voice did not match the song. I'm not saying wasn't a good singer.
No.
I'm just saying, like, her specific voice didn't match.
It just didn't match
the song, and I was just
understand.
Oh, it's like, oh man, like, but like I was saying, like, when it came to it was, like I was saying, it was the sass in her voice when you hear when she was like, now you know, baby, and I was like, and you can hear the sass in it, and I was like, okay, but then like in the list I was going through, I was like, it's going down, it's going down.
Yeah.
So, and I think I'm honestly thinking I might be just biased at this point. Like,
well, you're going to find
when I
English naturally.
No, because that's not true at
about?
all. Because like usually, I would go with the Japanese version of anything.
Okay.
Like I think it's just like I heard that like I told you I heard that and I'm like, oh, that's appealing to the ears. But
Right.
when I'm listening to other songs and I don't hear that same thing that appeal to the original or anything else, I go, I'm not feeling this.
Right.
And that's what I was getting with the Latino one. And I thought that I thought the Latin one would be the one that had the most amount of sass in it, next to the English one. But no, it turned out to be the French one. And I was like, okay, I can vibe with this one.
Sure.
But yeah, man, I enjoyed the song. I enjoyed the music. I just like I wanted to have the same pizzazz that they had with
the English,
the English one.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I didn't even recognize. What I'll say before we move on is I'm sure the Russian version is probably the least sassy version. It's probably
There's a Russian version.
No, I don't. No.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that one.
The worst version. All right, let's get into just overall the characters, the story. I love this trio of MoonGirl, the Dino, and Casey. All the characters around the family dynamic is cool.
I love the father. He's very Oscar proud. I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'm like, this is perfectly the perfect father for this type of situation. The grandma, I love her too. The mom, I feel like she wasn't there as much as the grandma was. And the grandfather even less.
I will say she does appear a little more in episode 4 or 5 when they're discussing. I think it's the hair episode.
Yeah, the hair episode.
But that's more female than. I don't think most of the father and the grandfather don't show up much at all in that episode.
Did they?
No, I don't believe so. I think it's just.
Oh wait, they do show up,
but minor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But either way,
he did make a fun joke there.
But a joke, Whereas they're more so.
Going to the if we go into the episodes, I really like the first one. The villain was really fun.
Yeah, Static Shock. No, Aftershock, of course. Yeah,
that was really fun.
Aftershock. Was cool.
The ending, how they figure her out, was kind of that's kind of what it is. She just putting her hand into something, and
it was like a chicken. It was like the Chicken Little reveal, kind of.
Yeah, and I was just like, how do y'all know that she's even doing that? That's just sort of electric shocks. I'm like, she could reach down to unlock the bike or something. We don't know. But a little lackluster reveal. But the ending after that, all the stylized
battle
was absolutely amazing. I was just like, I wouldn't mind the series being like this, to be like half of it being just this normal style, and then it goes into that with a song. That would be really great. You got anything to say about the second episode?
No, I mean, so episode 1, I mean, I love, so it's a stretch, but it's a stretch because they clearly are doing an hour run on Disney Channel. That this did drop on Disney Channel. So, hour long run, you get all the ad breaks in there. But yeah, man, you just felt obviously this isn't anything new, but the presentation is what makes it great.
Yeah.
You have, again, it's the art style, the nervousness that MoonGirl feels when it's like, oh shit, she's in the fucking classroom. Oh my god, okay,
yeah,
all right.
That was,
and then the
I wish it
teacher.
I wish that it went further with that. Like, I wish they had a little more time to just have her and MoonGirl interacting
after our shot. Yeah, I thought that it was going to be more than one episode.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I'm. You could see it going in either direction, where it's like, ooh, one of my teachers is a villain, and I'm gonna have to deal with that for 5 episodes. I want them to interact
in the school, like just constantly nudging each other throughout the school, like you do something like that, and then she turned around and do something
in the cafeteria, or something goofy,
and just like they're just even if they're not in the superhero
personas,
they're still doing many little battles, like that would be real fun, like. But episode 2, So
episode 2, the Burrow Bully. By the way, another thing, I love that it's graffiti designed. Every single episode logo has great looking, graffiti design. Also, they do, in episode 1, let her knock out a few. So there is progression in the fact that it's like, You know, she knocks out a couple criminals or lets them get away. She basically, I don't think the dinosaur does most of is the brawn. She's the brain. But either way, the dinosaur takes care of it, like, attack-wise, and then they don't do the crime, basically.
Yeah.
It's nothing lethal, you know. But it's like, you know, you attack enough that they don't attack. By the way, before we go any further, MoonGirl is another series like Sonic Prime that I would love a video game of. This would be a cool or interesting like game in like a 2D style. I don't know what you would do with it.
Oh, in a 2D style.
I would love to see, because 3D I don't think would work, and I don't think it would be as expressive as what you could do in the 2D. Just simple. You don't need to put a lot of money into it, but just use the color palette, and it would be a really fun, beautiful game. You could even make a smartphone game out of it. And I don't want to play smartphone games, but if you really aren't going to go all the way to do a Switch game or something like that, then screw it. Just do if Paw Patrol can get a video game, then this can get a video game. Like, and it's worth it. You know, it's very beautiful. Either way, moving on, but in episode 1, though, yes, she climbs to the point of then going after Aftershock. So she's been doing that so often, and then gets to, boom, Aftershock. You know, there's also the fear of, you know, it's like there's so much crime going on. There's a scenario here. It's like, we've all been in the situation, and again, episode 1 is good because we've all been in that situation here in Baltimore, especially, where it's like, fuck, I wish there was a fucking hero, and here's the ability to say, hey, like, if you had the power and you had an assistant that's a big ass T-Rex, what the fuck would you do with that? Would you try to help or stop that scenario? And it puts it into the kid's hands, and it's like, that's kind of cool, that's interesting, and that's why episode 1 I think works so well. Yeah. But yeah, like, there's just a lot of episode 1
I'm also
to
glad
enjoy.
that they didn't tie it to the fact that she's a child, and it was just like she's trying to help, she's trying to be a superhero, let her do it. Yeah, I think the dinosaur was a good reason. Like, well, she has a dinosaur too. That's another good reason to let her in. But they didn't go to you're just a child. Like, stand back, or all that nonsense we usually hear when there's a child superhero shows up, but they have powers or something.
Yeah, because this is the equivalent. I mean, she is people don't realize, I'm sure, because the tones are so different. She's almost the same age as Static Shock, if not the same age.
I thought she was 13.
Is she 13 or 14?
She was 13 or 14.
And Static Shock is what, 14 or 15?
I think he's in high school.
So 15 or 16?
Yeah.
Okay, give or take 2 years.
Yeah.
But you're right, middle school to high school. Either way, much different tone.
Yeah.
The violence is real, and you feel like he could die in those situations.
He absolutely could.
Like, you don't feel that in this show at all. But and that's fine. This show works in that way, and I have no problem with that. But like, that's just a different tone thing. So when she's fighting villains, when she's fighting villains, it's like it's like
to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, like, you're not exactly.
I never felt like they were in any danger when they were fighting throughout the series.
I'm here for the spectacle because it's eye catching. Yeah, but I know that there's really nothing there in terms of actually putting the character at risk. You know, and like we talked about yesterday, I don't want to say it's a like Saturday morning cartoon, but this is like high, because a lot of things are Saturday morning cartoons. It's just very high caliber, high quality art and animation, and it's a pretty solid story, you know, to watch, and it's pretty good for just about all ages there. Yeah, but episode 2, the Burrow Bully, you know, this is where we get into, you know, MoonGirl now, instead of it being about the Lower East Side, it's now more about her and her dealing with the internet comments, right? It's like, you know, that one. Obviously, I think, you know, if you're like older than 10, you probably know who the bully is. Yeah. Or that you know who the commentator is.
You know who as soon as you saw what happened in the beginning. Yes. You knew exactly who it was. I gotta say, it did get me with the symbiote, the symbiote, because I didn't think it was going to be a symbiote at the end. Yeah. I didn't even think it was going to be a supervillain at the end. I thought it was just going to be, you know, random. The dude just somewhere posting, and just in a little basement just posting things.
Yeah, but then it ran away very Spirited Away like.
Yeah. You know? And it's just like, I'm not saying I didn't like where it went. No. I'm just saying I was not expecting that. That was like, oh, where the hell did this come from? There was no kind of build up to this. It just happened, and that's not always bad. Like that's not always bad for something to happen. Like because
especially on a short run time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it did show it was like this actual troll, I was like, I didn't even realize it was a symbiote until
The very end.
Until it said this is a symbiote.
Right.
I thought it was just another little monster. Like it's not the kid. It's not the kid with the beginning. Okay.
You really just got into a really shitty situation.
It's like that's
but it wasn't him at all.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, episode 2's end credit has another great sounding just music. So the first episode's end credit sounded like I think I mentioned this. Where did I write this down? No, I didn't write that down. Episode 2's end credit sounded like a character select screen in a video game. It sounded really cool. If you go back, listen to it. Episode 3's end credit sounded like that sounded more like a Disney Channel original end credit. I think episode 1 sounded like a video game end credit as well. I don't think I noted that though. But episode 3 is Run the Rink, and I didn't know where this was going to go because of course it's like things happen so quickly and shit goes left rather quickly.
I found this one's really fun.
Yes,
not as fun as the last one, but extremely fun.
I found this more fun than episode 2
because the battle system was the battle at the end. the battle at the end.
The cyborg with slime is what I'm gonna call it.
The
gravitas.
The entire the beginning. I didn't really care about. Like it was just set up, basically just set up until you got to the point where.
So what do you mean by the beginning? Are you talking about when she gets left behind with the rink and then?
Yeah, I get it. She was trying to help everyone. Like that's great. She was trying to help everyone.
And then, but you also get the theme of the episode, which is patience.
Yeah,
from the very jump.
And then there's just like that felt like the entire right there was just set up, like a huge build up until the point where. I broke the rink, calling a friend to help.
Yeah.
And you knew exactly what was going to happen as soon as she made the text to everyone. And then I thought it was just going to be a one villain showing up. No, there were like 4 or 5 villains showing up, ready to take her on. But she just taking them out one after another, which I guess is okay since they're just like they're run of the mill everyday villains that Marvel usually has.
Trash can man.
And you just 1-2 punch them and it's done.
Banana bread buster. Yeah.
Yeah, but I did actually when he first showed up, I was like, oh, this guy's a joke. But then with the gravity dude.
Gravitas,
yeah.
Cyborg with slime, yes.
When he showed up, and I was just like, oh, this is just a slimy people. No, they control gravity. And I was like, and then you the fight's going on, you realize, oh, wait, he's taking him up into space.
Yeah.
This is actually kind of serious. Whether they go into space or they fall down. This is probably something that you need to pay attention to. And then they get into the whole
rap battle, I think, right? And was that what it was?
Yeah.
No, rap battle was episode 2, by the way. That was cool. This was Childish Gambino. That was a great background track. That was Sweatpants. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I enjoyed that a whole lot.
Absolutely.
I love the set the cassette tape to the setup, and then you play the music, and then it goes into the colors and all that. It was so stylized. The battle was so, and I was just like, man, this is just. I wish more shows did this.
Yeah, I would love if Disney decides to just make a animated universe a similar offshoot to something like DC, where it's just in this art style, and you just have a bunch of street level heroes that are like this.
Yeah.
And it could just be elementary level street heroes, or middle school, high school age street heroes, and they grow up like
like Spider-Man,
But like. At some point, if they play their cards right, they don't need the property of Spider-Man. If that was the whole thing, by the way, with all these of what's going on with Phase 4 with all these young people, is if you play your cards right, you don't need Spider-Man. Now you have Spider-Man again. That's been confirmed. But if you write these characters well enough, kind of like Iron Man was, if you write these characters well enough, like you make Captain America look good, you make Thor look interesting. It's like these characters that were so background. And you let people grow up with them. You don't need these super big heroes that you think you need. But moving on, that was a great battle. I love the music. Yeah, and by the way, the other characters, there were two other characters. There was Instant Taney Girl, who I'm going to call Thunder Thighs, and then there was Man Baby.
That's what I called her when I was watching. I was like, why didn't
why didn't
Thunder Thighs?
Because that would be sexual connotation or something like, you know, that's like you're just going to relate to her legs. You can't do that in a TV show. You can't do that on Disney Plus.
But it's just so perfect.
It is. You made her ridiculously it was all thighs. It's all her character was.
I'm not even trying to be funny when I say the name. I just thought I want you like, oh, Thunder Thighs, and I was just like, there you go. Or like, but I wasn't trying to be like insulting or anything. I was just like, that's just the perfect name. But yeah, they went with something else. Instantaneous.
Instant Taney Girl. Yeah.
Super not good.
Not good. But it was played off as if it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Like even MoonGirl and Casey are like, really?
That's
bad. Yeah. But so of course the key at the end was like, what is the mom going to think about the new turntables? And everything's fine. Everything's good. You know, everything comes back down to earth. Blah blah blah. World's good. You know.
I thought she was going to notice.
I thought. Well, she did notice.
No, I know she knew they were better looking.
Yes.
I thought maybe
gonna say
just
why.
The bias I had with like I believe that like people who own instruments and they hear that instrument they would notice like if something's wrong with it, like
or something's off or different.
Yeah, even if you were to get someone that looks exactly the same, they would look at it and go,
"Well, I've been using this one. What happened?"
It seems different. Like
I thought there was going to be like a what the fuck happened? Something like she says that I got you new ones or something about donation. Either way, like it gets passed off, but it's a TV show like that. That's how this makes sense. That's this type of show, so it makes sense. Everything works out. Then we move into episode 4, which is Check Yourself, which that's where you get more of the school battle that you probably wanted to get from Aftershock.
Yeah,
you know, because everything there is based around this supercomputer, which isn't bad. You know, supercomputer. It's fine. Like
I have nothing to say about this episode. It was there. It's not a bad episode.
It was just like don't take everything seriously. Just kind of loosen up and realize that it was a fun episode. It can be a little loose. Yeah.
I don't really have anything to say about that. I'm pretty sure the supercomputer will show up again.
Well, she does. She's a guidance counselor in the school now. So, that's but she's on Lunella's good side now. So boom.
I mean, she wasn't on her bad side ever. It's just that Lunella was so focused. Yeah. She didn't know. She didn't care.
She didn't care that it was going to overheat.
Yeah. She was just trying to be friends the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But we have episode 5, Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. That one was very. I know you weren't into it, but I found that to be very. Black women do have a very culturally significant deal with their hair, and societal standards affect how they present their hair. This has been a thing for centuries, and so when this episode was approached, and then you have Casey, who is not black, and brings up like, "Hey, here, try my wigs or try this effect," and it doesn't work well. Yeah, like I think this is just a solid lesson in, hey, look, like you're not gonna be able to do what every other race with straight hair can do. You have curly hair, be proud of that, and that's the point really of this episode. Do it how you want to do it, but it also was simultaneously like just showing you, people don't like political messages, but this was like literally something that Lunella would have to hypothetically deal with. And so I think it works as an episode in a show about a young black girl in a family with black women.
I agree with what you just said, but the only problem is, like I said the other day, in episode 2, during the rap battle with the symbiote, he comments on her hair every time. His key insults were her hair and Devil Dinosaur's arms.
You know why?
And she passed over them with stride. But then this episode, the girl behind her says something to her, but she was saying it in the passing. She wasn't saying it like
directly
trying to be an insult. She was just.
I feel like she was like the girl type deal where it's like I'm just gonna say it because I know that it's gonna get. It's like, look, this is.
I don't know. I felt that she was. I just like because she was just like, oh, I thought that's always what you went for. I mean, your hair. She said she's like, your hair looks great. you always go for that naturally after like.
Right, but if you know, I feel this is how I interpret it is she was in the MoonGirl persona when that was happening, and so like that's all in the MoonGirl persona. She was defending the MoonGirl persona, and then this is literally while she's just herself, no other persona to cover up there, just herself. I think that's why it impacts more.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying it just like
I know it seems inconsistent, but that's where I'm going with that hypothetically.
Okay.
Yeah. Episode 6, you have more about the Beyonder than I do, but I think the interesting thing about the Beyonder is he's actually voiced by one of the critical members of the creative team behind the show, which is Lawrence Fishburne. In fact, Lawrence Fishburne is the narrator through a lot of the show.
And I love that. I love the fact that his voice through it, like this is the to have the narrator to suddenly be able to be heard.
Yeah.
And it turns out that it's the Beyonder. The Beyonder is something I want to talk about, but on Beyonder, yeah, I think his design is really, really cool. I like it. Is. I like the normal Beyonder is just some white dude, honestly.
Oh my god!
It's just blonde haired dude, and he's not really into. He looks like. Oh wait, no, he looks like Elvis Presley.
Interesting.
I think it's because he was made in that time, so he looks like Elvis Presley. And I was like, it's a boring design. It's not like
it's nothing compared to what we get here.
Like if it was like yeah. So I like the line. I like the lines, the curves of his body. The design completely was really, really great. At the race, I really didn't care about, but it was a cool line. But beyond is not what I want to talk about because he's the most important part of the episode. But at the same time, he's so super powerful that it didn't really. Like whether she did whatever he did, he decides the end of the battle.
Right.
So it was no her winning in the point that she dominated the fight. Like,
not at all.
It was absolutely of his own accord. But what I'm gonna talk about is the lesson they try to throw into it, where the kid she was helping, he throughout the entire first couple episodes, we see how he acts.
Yeah.
He acts like a little butthead.
Absolutely.
And then we get to this episode, and Lunetta, who has interacted with him this entire time, even longer beyond the series, you gotta guess, he comes off as a jerk. So when she decides, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I gotta work with him. I need to do this project, or we're not going to do it." And then she hears his ideas, and she's like, my idea would be better, and it absolutely would, because she's a super genius. But at the same time, it's like they try to make it seem like you didn't really care about my input, and like I really want to show everyone that I'm smart, not just some idiot. But you left the audience who watched the first episode thinking like you are.
Yeah.
You never made any input. You never made any impactful meaning throughout these.
And I'm sure we've both been in that situation in school, like when our past in school.
And then we look like jerk. And then you try to make Lunella seem like she's being a jerk, not letting him join in on the project. And I'm like, that's really weird. You didn't give us any kind of past episode where like any kind of redemption. Or something similar to that throughout the first. It is the beginning of the series, and it is the first couple episodes.
Right.
But he was in those episodes enough where he just made. He
was always
and just like, why are you doing this? And then you get this episode, and just like, oh, now we care about him.
Yeah. And
I'm just like, I don't.
It's like I understand the idea that they wanted to show us here. Look, be empathetic to this kid, but I think for any person that's been through school or just at work, like we all have that soft asshole. He's not fully an asshole, but he's an asshole, and it's like that's what the kid is. He's an asshole, and if he says, "Look, let me try my idea," it's like, and you're a smart person that invents anything on the fly. Guess who's not going to get their idea tried? The person that doesn't invent shit on the fly, and that's not a problem.
I'm not even saying he's not smart. I'm just saying he comes off as a jerk ass throughout the first couple of episodes, and then they just try to slap a lesson saying, okay, he's not really the jerk ass. It's Lunella for not listening to him, letting him get out his idea, and not to mention the whole fact that Lunella is under the threat of total world annihilation if this doesn't go according to plan, but making everyone seem important. And I know at the end they were like, "Oh, I'm omnipotent," and he is omnipotent and all that stuff. Right. So I can see everything, and I know that he is worthless. But to try to force us to care about this, about any media that forces us to try to care about somebody who made it throughout the series to be a complete asshole, and then try to and just at one point oh, we're the jerks for not listening to him. Right. You can't do that. No, that's not how it works. I would have appreciated it more when he started saying stuff like, I just want everyone to think that I'm smart too and have ideas. That Lunella, instead of trying to apologize and everything, she says, well, you don't make any effort to make anyone
actually want to
if you just show some kind of effort into making people believe that you're more than what you appear to
present yourself to be,
then I wouldn't have been so critical when it came to the project. You know what I'm saying? And I just this is a lesson that needs to be had, but was poorly implicated in the episode.
It needed to be a full episode focused on him, and not just the Beyonder mixed with him.
I think they should have, or
at least made it an arc.
This should have been a later episode, later in the season, and had one episode before this where the boy actually did something to show Lunella that he's actually a cool dude. He might be an asshole, but he's actually not a complete asshole. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So. I was I wasn't feeling the episode. I wasn't feeling the lesson because I don't care.
No,
I don't care.
I understand. Yeah, no, and
and it wasn't a fair to put everything on the entire world on this one. Find a use for someone who constantly showed that they're useless.
That's it. Yeah. MoonGirl and the Devil Dinosaur. So far. I don't want to give it a rating, but I mean, maybe I should. I feel like to me, it's an A-. It's a 4 out of 5.
I know it's pretty critical right there, but like I said, I still do love the.
No, I mean it's you have to remember where the show is. It's a Disney Channel show. That's on Disney Plus, aimed at a certain age range. That is tonally not going to be Static Shock, but still bases itself in topics that are interesting enough. Whether or not you get the themes, whether or not they're for you, it's still an interesting watch. And again, the effort and quality in the sound, the effort and quality in the animation and the art design, how fun the characters are. I love Casey's always doing something, and then she gets the call from MoonGirl, and it's like, well, gotta interrupt, gotta go.
There is one thing I want to add. Yeah. You think somebody would figure out their secret identities by now?
So the robot figures it out rather quickly, and also the family doesn't realize it at all, even though they have.
Grandma do.
They have to, dude.
I was like, but it's just like she's always with them and taking pictures and video thing, but then she's hanging out with them after school and everything. Not Devil Dinosaur, but just hanging out with Lunella all the time.
Yes.
You think someone will put 2 and 2 together? Like the only girl this girl hang out with is also taking pictures of.
But that's where it's like you just kind of isn't that. I know Kim Possible is all out of the area that's the other thing. Kim Possible isn't usually in that same area, right? Area code that the high school is in.
Yeah. So, but they all know shit. They all know Kim Possible is a superhero.
They know that Kim Possible is Kim Possible.
Yeah. Everyone knows it. It's not a secret identity.
I've just been so long since I watched it. There's, by the way, one of the many members of the show actually did produce Kim Possible, so that's why I was curious.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Everyone in Kim Possible knew that she was a superhero. This wasn't a secret. She had a website dedicated to her showing up and helping you out. But this has a website where the girl's always posting about MoonGirl and Devil Dinosaur. But she hangs out with no one else but Lunella.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
makes it tough.
It's just when you put 2 and 2 together, that's her.
Plus, it's It's not like she's really wearing a mask, and that's the thing. If you really think about it, it kind of falls apart rather quickly. But
ignore what I just said. Everyone, just have fun with the show because I enjoy it. You know, I say all this stuff. I enjoyed the show.
Cool. Yeah, but man, I think it's great, and I'm curious for more. And
please,
it's not a show that I'm going to go and instantly watch. It's probably going to be a show that I find like a couple months from now and say, oh, they finished season 1 or they're on to season 2. Okay, fuck it, I'll watch some of it. Like I'm not. This isn't really a show that's in my direction, but I do see the value in it, and it's great.
I hope that it goes beyond just episodic the way it is right now.
Yeah, we can get some arcs in there.
I wouldn't mind it having a continuity. Oh, wait, it does have a continuity.
It does, though. Yeah,
it does.
But it's very light. But it does. Yeah.
I hope it doesn't become like Rise of the
TMNT.
Yes, please don't become like that.
Fair. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been StreamBlast, exclusively here on ScreenBlast. I was joined with Martin.
I lost it. Well, see, everyone. I lost it.
My God! All right.
Every single time.
Yes, the man with so much to say.
You put me on the spot, man. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, and of course, find me on at Democracy at democracy.com. And thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more.